Hey Doc, it's Chris Burfield, and I'm just going to take a few minutes of your time today. I promise this won't be long, but I want to share a story with you, something that I really believe is going to help you in your practice this upcoming week. I was recently rereading a story that B.J. Palmer wrote, and I've read this story several times over the years, and just the other day I picked the book up and I was reading it again. And it's called The Story of That Something, and if you haven't read this story, I highly suggest that you just click on the link just below this video and download a free PDF version of it. And in this story, BJ repeatedly uses the words "I will" over and over and over again. And it reminded me of just how powerful those words are when it comes to the human language and as human beings setting out on a mission and a purpose to make something happen in our lives. We have the ability to will things into manifestation in the real world. Our innermost dominant thought becomes our outermost tangible reality when we decide to will something. And I'll give you an example of just how powerful the words "I will" are, how powerful the human will actually is. During World War II, there was a prison camp that the Japanese had set up. They had actually captured about 65,000 Allied soldiers and put them to work as slaves in a prison camp, both British and American soldiers. And what they did in this prison camp is that the Japanese had these 65,000 prisoners build a 225-mile railway through the jungle. And they used slave labor to do it. The conditions were absolutely atrocious. Men were malnourished, they were beaten, they were tortured. It was just a very horrific situation to be in. And at the end of these prisoners were actually captured and in this prison camp for approximately 18 months before they were rescued. At the time that they were rescued, there was only a handful, a few hundred survivors left. Out of 65,000 men, only a few hundred actually survived by the time the Allies rescued them. Well, I was watching History Channel one day, and they were interviewing one of the survivors of this prison camp. And the interesting thing is, in 1957, they actually made a movie about this whole situation called The Bridge Over the River Kwai. And they were interviewing on History Channel an actual survivor from this prison camp. And he was explaining just, again, how horrific the conditions were, the beatings, the malnourishment, the torture. And he said that one of his best friends in the camp was laying there next to him one night. And he said that he looked over at him and he could see that his friend was he was at the edge. He couldn't take it anymore. And he said that my friend looks at me and says, "That's it." He goes, "I'm out of here tonight. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm out." And he said that I tried to convince him, I said, of not doing anything irrational. He said, I told him, I said, "Don't do anything irrational because they'll kill you. Just hang in there. You know, we're going to be rescued. Just hang in there." So he said he went to sleep that night, and when he woke up the next morning, he looked over at his friend, and his friend was dead. He was lying there next to him, and he had passed sometime in the night. And this World War II veteran, this gentleman, looks at the History Channel camera and says he willed himself to death. And it sent chills up and down my spine when I heard him say that, because that's how powerful the human will actually is. Our innermost dominant thought becomes our outermost tangible reality, even in death. If a person has given up all hope and have given up their will to live, they can actually will themselves to death. And that's just a reminder of how powerful the human will is. So my question to you is, are you sitting in your office every week saying, "I don't have enough new patients. People in my town just don't get it. I'm not in network, so people don't start care in my office because I'm not an in-network doctor." Are you saying that people can't afford my care. It's people just don't have the money in my town. My town is different. Marketing doesn't work here. Are you saying those kinds of things and filling your thought process with that, and in turn actually willing a mediocre or pathetic practice? Or are you saying things like, I have more new patients than I know what to do with. People value my care, and they know that my care is valuable, and they're willing to pay whatever price. People drive from miles around to receive my services and my love. I'm a money magnet. Everything I touch turns to gold. Marketing works in my town, and it works abundantly. So what are you filling your thoughts with to cause that will to rise up within you and make manifest anything you want? That's inspiring to me, to know that, God has put a will inside of us and has given us the ability to be, do, and have anything we want in our life. So, the whole purpose of shooting this video for you this week is to remind you that the human will is very powerful. What are you willing for your practice? So I hope you found this video valuable, and in the meantime, keep saving lives.